Thank you for joining us on today's edition of Naples Daily Newsmakers. Earlier in the year, we brought you some programs about injury prevention and also identity theft here in Southwest Florida. And today, some things have happened, and we're going to bring you some updates on what's occurred in recent months. Joining us here on the set today is Dr. Ashigul Timur, the Dean of the Johnson School of Business here at Hodges University, and Carrie Kursky, an expert on identity theft who is overseeing the Identity Theft Institute here at Hodges. Thank you both for joining us here today on Newsmakers.
Thank you for having us.
So, Ashigul, the Institute here is now up and running, which is one of the big changes since our program before. What was the sense of urgency of getting this going so quickly rather than waiting for the legislature to appropriate money?
Well, we started the Institute because not only there is a need for establishing this Institute, but also collaborating with our community. The Collier Identity Task Force has already identified the need for addressing the concerning growth in the areas of identity fraud, and Hodges University, as a community source, has agreed to continue to support this initiative and really provide additional services to our community.
You both spoke recently before the Collier County Legislative Delegation and threw out a wealth of numbers. For our audience here, can you sort of recite what some of the numbers are that illustrate the problem?
Absolutely. I can provide you numbers for not only the consumer side, but also the data breaches side. Number one is that according to the Federal Trade Commission, the Consumer Sentinel network data, between January and December 2014, the identity theft was the #1 complaint category with 13%. If we look at the data breaches in 2014, there were 783 reported data breaches with 86 million records exposed. That number increased in 2015 with 533 reported data breaches, but 140 million exposed records.
Yeah, and since then, the Identity Theft Resource Center, a nonprofit out of California, they've been tracking reported data breaches since 2005. These are the ones we know about, the ones that have been reported. And so far, since 2005, over 800 million records have been exposed nationwide. So you figure the population of the United States is about 320, 330 million. So that means that everyone's had the potential of their information being exposed 2.5 times.
We're here on the campus of Hodges today. Somebody watching this program, is this where somebody who thinks that they've had their identity stolen, is this who they should call?
Yes, for right now, if someone believes they're a victim of identity theft, they can give us a call. They get a free 30-minute consultation with me, and I'll kind of give them a game plan of what needs to be done. But the goal ultimately is for us to train others in the community, which is why we're going to be coming up with certification and degree programs, so that way there'll be more boots on the ground, so to speak, more qualified people that are able to work with victims and help them recover their identity and move on with their lives.
Hodges also has a campus in Fort Myers. Is this something that's already extended or is going to be extended there?
Yes, that's one of the biggest misconceptions, because this, derived from the work of the Collier Identity Theft Task Force. Everyone assumes it's Collier County only, but no, we are more than happy to assist and work with Lee County. We've already started reaching out to some of the organizations in there to become partners. I've been up to the campus in Fort Myers numerous times meeting with victims, so yes, we definitely are initiating working with Lee County, eventually statewide, and then after that nationwide.
And Carrie alluded to it, but what are you going to the legislature to them for in the 2016 session?
Well, one of the things is that we would like to add additional personnel to train and provide more educational opportunities like offering a certificate program or a degree program. The degree program we are planning is a kind of combination of risk management, identity theft, identity fraud, data privacy, technology, mitigation, that it includes several components of the related issues. So we're hoping that we will have this program so people can be equipped for the right skills to get new jobs that are available, will be available in companies to really assist companies to recover in these areas.
So the degrees people will get from this will be to place them in corporations?
Absolutely, the companies. So these are the growing areas, and so we see a lot of inquiries from companies, especially to train employees in these areas. So Carrie and I have been working on a kind of curriculum so that it is one of a kind that covers so many different areas together.
And what are some of the types of experts, somebody who comes through with a degree, what are they going to be able to go out and do in terms of helping prevent identity theft and working with people?
Well, right now, to my knowledge, unless something recently has changed, there are 47 states that have data privacy notification laws. Most of them that I've looked at, they all require organizations, not just big companies, even one-man operations. They require someone to be appointed as the data privacy officer who's going to be responsible in the event of a data breach. And what I'm seeing happen with small businesses and nonprofits, they're appointing the office manager or executive director to this title, but they don't have the support or the knowledge to be able to sufficiently manage it. So with the degree program, they'll be able to learn exactly what they're supposed to do in that role. In the larger corporations, the people that I find that are being given this title, it's either a compliance or a legal person, or it's an IT person. But you need someone who can also approach it from a managerial and also an HR perspective. Otherwise, you're missing a component that could be crucial, because if you look at all the reported data breaches, majority of them were the result of human error. So you could have Fort Knox style, cybersecurity on your organization. All it takes is one employee clicking on a phishing email to bring your organization down. So we want to be able to provide people with these skills where they can approach it from all aspects to make sure that the company-wide is protected.
It seems like this is going to be a degree that requires a lot of abilities in terms of technology, awareness, and so forth. Are those some of the skill levels of people that you hope to attract here to get these degrees?
We do, but I don't want people to have the misconception that they have to be a programmer, because you don't have to be a programmer and know how to write programming to take this program. What it will teach you is it will give you the skills and the language so that you can communicate with the technology in the IT department to make sure things are put in place.
In terms of, as you're working with the legislature to get authorization and funding in order to set these programs up, in the meantime, what are some of the goals and missions of having the Institute up here and running?
Well, the mission is to, for the Institute is learn, share, collaborate. So one of the things that's very crucial, identity theft and cybersecurity, it's constantly changing, constantly evolving as technology advances. So it is important that we conduct research so we stay abreast of the current trends, and then we can develop those into additional training programs and education programs. So it's a combination of the research, analyzing exactly what's happening out there, and then creating programs to address the need.
And as far as the community outreach and working with the task force here in Collier County, is that part of the mission and the goal here as well?
Absolutely, because Collier Identity Task Force is our advisory council. So we work with them closely, and we are assisting them to put the forums together, and Carrie and I attending almost every event, and we are collaborating together to really outreach to our community at large.
Anybody who wants to find out more about the issue, where can they go to find out more about what you offer here at Hodges and also about the Collier Identity Theft Task Force?
Well, obviously they can go to the website, which is hodges.edu. For the Identity Theft Institute, it's hodges.edu/identity. They can, give us a call, send us an email. We'll be happy to address any questions they might have.
Okay. Carrie Kursky, Ashagul Tamar. We want to thank you for joining us here on Newsmakers as we talk about this very important issue to Southwest Florida, protecting your identity from being stolen. Our conversation on Newsmakers continues now today as we talk about progress that's been made with the Collier County Injury Prevention Coalition. And joining us here is Michael Wynn, president of Sunshine Ace Hardwares, who's co-chairman of the Collier Injury Prevention Coalition, and the new chairman of the group, Keith Dameron, who's business development officer and vice president of Iberia Bank. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here and taking time out of your busy schedules as we talk about this very important issue.
Thank you for having us, Alan.
So I alluded to there, Keith, you've taken over the chairmanship of this organization from Michael Reagan. Can you elaborate it for us a little bit on why you feel it's so important for you to take time out of your busy schedule to do this?
Well, it really, part of it is the fact that I spent over 30 years with Mass Mutual in their health insurance department, and then 15 years in banking since moving to Collier County, where I realized that I've really been involved in doing a lot of different things to help seniors. So when Mike Regan approached me about becoming chair of the Collier Injury Prevention Coalition, it just seemed to be a natural step for me to take.
And earlier in the year, we were here and filmed a program as this program was introduced. The injury prevention program was introduced here in Collier County. Michael, what's become sort of the underlying message that you want to get out to folks with this program here?
I would say our underlying message is really that we are all at risk. This is a problem that affects both people that are young and old. It's a community-wide issue, and we're asking people to educate themselves, educate loved ones about the simple preventative steps that can be taken that can create a safer environment, that can improve their quality of life by preventing a fall and ultimately save lives. And the coalition, I think, is now better positioned than ever to help people with those first steps through resources, tools, and our expanding partnerships. And really comes down to the old adage that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
And we were talking earlier, Keith, people don't think that this is going to happen to them. Is that correct? It's always going to happen to somebody else?
No, it's always going to happen to somebody else. Seniors don't think they will fall, and then when they do, it happens literally in the blink of an eye, an instant. And the consequences can be very dramatic, if not leading to serious injury and confinement, rehabilitation, can also end up in resulting in death. So, as Michael mentioned, one of the important messages that we want to get out there is that this is not complicated, and we want to be sure that we don't present it as though it's complicated. We want people to realize and maybe even feel a little sorry that they didn't take these easy steps earlier. Prevention and awareness is really what the focus is. So that's where we're coming from, and that's what we're going to be doing in 2016.
Over the course of the last year, there's been a lot of research that's been shared and so forth, and some of those numbers really underscore the severity of this. I want to ask both of you to kind of touch on some of the numbers that have really caught your eye, but Keith, you want to go ahead and tackle that one first?
Well, I use the term the numbers are breathtakingly bad, and most people who have not experienced, most seniors who have not experienced a fall really aren't aware of them, and frankly, they have no reason to be aware of them. But on a broader scope, when you look at the number of injuries that occur to seniors in Collier County compared to the state of Florida, the numbers in Collier County are 55% higher than the average in the state of Florida. In the state of Florida, annually, there are around 150,000 medical confinements for seniors as a result of falls, and the medical cost is right around $3 billion. So we're not just talking about safety to seniors, reducing risk. We're talking about having an impact on the economy in the state of Florida.
And Michael, what are some of the numbers that have really jumped out to you as this has been progressing in the last year?
When we think about just the fact that there's over 4,000 calls to EMS, the number one reason for calls to EMS are fall-related injuries. I think every 3 days, someone in Southwest Florida dies from a fall-related injury. And with our new partner, Walgreens, we've also kind of learned of some statistics regarding medications. So patient medication errors, the frequency of those average in the home between 19 to 59%. And there's a direct link to that with fall-related injuries, which is something as simple to understand as blood pressure and dizziness being one of those causes.
Before we go to break here, Keith, I want to talk a little bit about the coalition's efforts as you're going into the season. What's on your radar coming up in the months ahead here?
Well, we're positioned very nicely, Ellen. September 25th, Dr. Ellen Weiss allowed us to use the Telford Auditorium on the NCH campus. And we had over 40 organizations, Collier County organizations, whose organization focuses on the needs of seniors. And the result of that workshop was a very long list of ideas and suggestions that the coalition will be looking at and will be considering as part of our strategies for next year. So December the 2nd, all of the co-chairs are getting together. Michael, Dr. Jackie Pfaffer, Jeff Lytle, Mark Tesoro, George Aguilera, Lydia Galton, and we have two new co-chairs that will be coming on board very shortly who are very passionate about doing something about this problem. So out of the December 2nd meeting will come specific action plans that will be focused on penetrating condos, country clubs, retirement facilities, areas where there are large groups of seniors who may or may not be aware of the dangers that they face every day.
When we return with Michael Wynn and Keith Dameron, we'll find out about what you should be on the lookout for in your own home. Stay with us. We're back now with Keith Dameron and Michael Wynn here to talk about the Collier Injury Prevention Coalition. Michael, let's turn to you first here, and let's talk a little bit about some of the outreach that's going on, both in the community and also in your stores here.
Yeah, from an outreach standpoint, we've done a number of things. From the store's perspective, I always point to our associates. They are the best, easiest source to access in terms of education, knowing the products. Also, our home audit checklist is another resource available in the stores to make it really easy for people to assess risk both inside and outside their home and know what those next steps are. We've also continued to dedicate a portion of our website to StepSmart with links not only to the video but also for any community outreach meetings that might be happening, educational events. And then I would also point to the people that we have trained as speakers that have gone out and been in the community on any number of occasions, business groups, community associations, retirement facilities, and continue to be available for anyone that might need them. And then our expanding partnerships for the coalition, individuals and companies that not only are now preaching this message to their clients and customers, but also then acting as resources that we can tap as we go forward in the media and in the community.
And you referenced StepSmart there as we go throughout Ace Hardware stores here in Southwest Florida. You know, we've seen these cards that are available that are out next to products. What do these signify, and is there a tie to the checklist with these?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, if you look for the home safety product shelf tag, it makes it really easy to find the items that are referenced in the home audit checklist on the shelf, so that, again, it makes it easy to complete that shopping list and find the items that you need to make your home safer.
And Michael had talked a little bit about the outreach there, Keith, but what are some of the organizations that have gotten involved in this, and have you gotten an increase in terms of interest in this as the years gone by?
Alan, it's pretty amazing. Of course, Walgreens has come on board very aggressively. Solaris Foundation, which is the rehabilitation organization up in Bonita, and then one of their units, which is the Happy Handyman. And the Happy Handyman technicians are bonded, they're trained for aging in place and dealing with seniors. So they have come on board. Iberia Bank has come on board. Of course, Sunshine Ace Hardware, I mean, they're playing the critical role in advancing our mission, the mission of the coalition. But since the announcement in July that I had joined the coalition, and now we're starting to be a little more aggressive in getting the word out there and training presenters, as Michael mentioned. Now my phone has been ringing constantly. So right now I've had over 24 phone calls, contacts. I have 12 organizations who literally specialize in dealing with seniors and addressing seniors' needs that are asking to become partners with the Injury Prevention Coalition. And the only thing that I've asked them is to wait till the first of the year, because not until after our December 2nd meeting will we be able to go back to them and say, yes, here's where you fit in and here's where you can make a contribution. I would love to be able to bring everybody on board. I'm not sure I would, but the benefit of having such a terrific list of talented organizations who believe in what we're trying to do is very encouraging for us.
And so after the first of the year, somebody who's involved with the homeowner association, a church or so forth, will they be able to arrange for speakers to come out and walk them through?
We've trained 18 speakers to this point. We have I'm viewing two approaches. One of them is sort of the larger global presentation where we'll have 80, 90, 100 or more people. That setup will be different than what I call the SWAT team approach, where we have small units of presenters with backup and support from Sunshine Ace Hardware and the Happy Handyman and so on to go to the different locations, do smaller groups, but nevertheless, whether we're talking 25 people or we're talking 100 people, it's important that we get that message out to them. So we have a pretty aggressive schedule plan for 2016. We're going to be rolling it out, and when we do, people are going to start seeing the Step Smart Collier Injury Prevention Coalition in a lot of locations in Naples and on Marco Island.
In our last few seconds here, if I understand correctly, a couple of your focuses are going to be medication management and aging in place.
Medication management is an enormous problem that Michael referred to, and just to give you an example of that, I've spent a lot of time with physicians and medical specialists, and the interaction between prescription medication, over-the-counter medication, and supplements is so enormous because each of those potentially either increase or reduce the prescribed impact of the medication. Which supplements affect which prescribed medications and which over-the-counter. This is an enormous challenge for people, and who takes most of the medications? It's seniors. So this again creates an opportunity for us to get people together, have them bring their medications or bring a list of their medications, sit down with a Walgreens pharmacist at one of our presentations and find out if in fact these medications that they've obtained from different sources don't counteract one another.
Michael Wynn, Keith Damron, I want to thank you for joining us today on NewsMakers.